So here it is, a year-end final review in 12 pages. So there's lots of information here separated out by chapter. Work on it a little bit at a time, and after you have your answers, then watch this video to check it. Don't just simply watch the video and write in the answers. Identify those problems that you're going to get stuck on, maybe put a little check mark by them, and the ones for sure that you understand, put a star by, and then that way you can go back on this document and use it as a study document for the next couple of weeks before you take the year-end final review. So going back to chapter 1, we're solving some equations. Actually not solving equations, just simplifying some expressions using the order of operations. And sometimes that is referred to as gems, sometimes it's referred to as Pemdas. But we do need to remember that we do grouping or parentheses first, then come exponents, and then we multiply and divide and add and subtract from left to right. We also introduced these absolute value bars in chapter 1, so make sure that you understand that anything inside of those is positive. So on number 1, I'm going to start by combining those two negatives and making it a positive. So we have negative 11 plus 43, which is 32. And because it's the absolute value, it stays as 32. If it was a negative 32, it would become a positive 32 because absolute value means how far a number is from 0. So we have negative 11 plus 43, which is a positive 32. And in the denominator, this didn't come across very well, but that exponent is a 4. So we'll take 18 plus negative 16, which is a positive 2. And 2 to the 4th power is not, I repeat, not equal to 8, but 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, which is 16. And 32 divided by 16 is 2. All right, number 2, we have some parentheses plus some brackets, so I'm going to work inside these parentheses first, which is negative 2 take away 1. That's a negative 3, and I believe that's a little 3 right there. So we have negative 3 to the 3rd power, which is a negative 27. And don't forget to bring down the negative sign and bring everything else down so you can see that it's negative 20, take away a negative 27, or negative 20 plus 27, in this case, which would be 7. And then all of that in the bracket gets raised to the 2nd power. So we have 7 squared, which is 49. And then finally, 49 plus this 16 out here is 65. So number 2 is 65. Number 3, we have some exponents here. Let's start with this negative 3 to the 3rd power, which is negative 27. And then I'm going to tackle this multiplication problem right here, which is a negative 90. And I'm going to bring down that little minus sign. Don't forget that. Looks like there's another multiplication problem right here, which is a negative 24. So what I have left here is negative 90 plus 27, which would be a negative 63. And so a negative 63 plus another negative 24 is a negative 87. Let me just double check my work there again. Did the multiplication here, and we did the multiplication here. We did the exponents here. And so it looks like we have negative 90 plus 27. That's a negative 63. And negative 63 plus negative 24. All right, negative 87. All right, on number 4, it looks like we have a couple of things going on here. We do have an exponent of a 2 there, but let's go ahead and simplify within our parentheses. 56 divided by 7 is 8, and 8 take away 3.5 is 4.5. And 4.5 squared, 4.5 times 4.5, we have a 5, carry the 2, 22, 0, carry the 2, 16, 17, 18. 5, 2, 0, carry the 1, 2. So we have 20.25. So 20.25 plus 51.15, 0, carry the 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a 1 and a 7. So we have 71.40. In the denominator, we have 2 times 255. So that should be 5.10. 5.10, is that right? 255 plus 255 is $5.10. Okay, then we have a division problem that we don't have room to show on our paper, but I'm going to make the best of it here. We're going to say 71.4, nope, sorry, 71.4 divided by 5.1. I'm going to move that decimal over, and float it to the top. 51 goes into 71 one time. 1 times 51 is 51. And then we get 204. And 51 goes into 204 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So the answer is 14. Wow, that took a lot of room and a lot of work, and might just want to double check me on that, but I believe the answer to number 14, sorry, the number 4 is 14. I got the work from numbers 1 through 4 out of the way, so we can take a look at 5, 6, 7, and that is when we are evaluating algebraic expressions, when we know the value of the variable. So in number 5 we have m times n, so we have a negative 4 times a 5, which is a positive 20, because it is inside those absolute values. So we have 20 in the numerator. In the denominator, we have the opposite of p. So p is 2, so the opposite of p would be negative 2, minus 3 times m. m is negative 4, so 3 times negative 4 is negative 12. Pay attention to those negative signs. Remember to bring them down or put them in parentheses, however you need to do it to keep track of them. But in the denominator, we have negative 2 plus 12, which is a positive 10, and 20 divided by 10 is 2. For number 6, we have p, which is 2, minus m, which is a minus a negative 4, which is a positive 4. Then we have m times n, so negative 4 times 5, which is negative 20, times that 2, which is a negative 40. So m times n, negative 20, times 2 is negative 40. 2 plus 4 is 6. 6 take away 40 is a negative 36. On number 7, we have 6 times n, so that's 6 times 5, which is 30. And then take away m squared. M is negative 4, so negative 4 squared is 16. 30 minus 16 is 14. For number 8, we have a set of data, and in order to find the mean, median, mode, and range, first of all you have to put it in order from least to greatest. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from the left, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from the right. So the two middle numbers are negative 2 and 3, but to find the median we have to add those two together. So negative 2 plus 3 is 1, and then divide that by 2, which is 1/2. So the median is 1/2, or 0.5. The range is the largest number. Take away the smallest number. So we have lots of students who just say that that's 5, but if it's 9, take away the smallest number, it actually is a range of 13. The mean is when we add up all the numbers and divide by the number of numbers. I'll come back to that really quickly because the mode is pretty easy to identify. That's a negative 2. So the sum of those numbers is 14, and there are 10 numbers. So if we divide by 10, we get 1.4 for the mean. For number 9, all I'm going to do is take 5,375 divided by 125, and so the change in the elevator's height per second would be 43 feet per second. And you might be thinking, can I use a calculator? No, in this case it comes out to a nice, neat answer. You just need to know how to set up the problem and be very proficient in your math facts and your division algorithm to get that problem finished. For number 10, I think there's lots of different ways that you can do this with different problem-solving strategies. This is how I did it, and let's see if it makes sense to you or if you did it the same way. If we have 8 numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, that when we add them up and divide by 8 numbers, that the mean is -4, we can undo this part right here by saying that those had to add up to -32. Similarly, if we had 9 numbers and then divided by 9 and got a new mean of -5, those numbers had to add up to -45. So the difference between -45 and -32 is -13. So the value that was added to the set is -13. For 11, 12, and 13, we have to remember the properties in algebra because it helps us do lots of problem solving. In number 11, we're talking about rearranging the order, which is the commutative property of addition. There's also a commutative property of multiplication, saying that we can multiply in any order and still get the same number. So commutative of addition. For number 12, we have on the right-hand side a variable that has been distributed to what's inside of the parentheses. So number 12 represents the distributive property of multiplication. And that might confuse you because you see an addition sign there, but you are distributing by multiplying 8 times x, which is 8x, and x times 1, which is x. And finally, we have a, b, and c being multiplied on both sides, but the grouping changes, and the grouping property is the associative property. And the associative property also works for addition, but in this case it would be the associative property of multiplication. That ends the review for section 1, chapter 1, and the next video you can review chapter 2 concepts.